Good evening. I am Shireen Anukwe, and I'm your host for tonight's discussion, and we're streaming to you live from Walker West Music Academy in St. Paul, Minnesota. For more than 30 years, Walker West Music Academy has been creating a music learning community rooted in the African American cultural experience, where people of all ages and backgrounds can gather, explore, and grow through music. Tonight, Walker West, along with Clayton Jackson McGhie Memorial, presents Sarah M. Greer for a live concert performance, Remembrance, Reflection, Resilience, featuring special appearances by Jayanthi Rajasa and Alicia Steele of the Give Get Sistet. This event commemorates the lives of Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGhie. Between the turn of the century, of the 20th century, and circa 1920, Jim Crow laws were adopted by many southern and northern states. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was founded. The 19th Amendment ratification gave women voting rights. World War I had finally come to an end. There was a lot of job competition and tension between African American workers and blue collar European immigrants. A rash of race riots, known as the Red Summer of 1919, broke out all over the country in big cities. Now, Duluth, though not a big city and located north of the Mason-Dixon line, through this horrific exhibition of public terrorism, joined the ranks of the Confederate States in white supremacist ideology and practice. On the summer night of June 15th, 1920, three young African-American employees of the John Robinson Circus were publicly murdered by a savage, bloodthirsty, all-white mob who assembled an impromptu kangaroo court, lamppost lynching, on the corner of First Street and Second Avenue East in Duluth, Minnesota. Now, the day before, the circus came to town offering a free parade and a one-night only performance. Irene Tuscan, a 19-year-old white woman from West Duluth, claimed that after the show, she and her 18-year-old male companion were attacked, and she was sexually assaulted by a gang of Black circus workers, Black male circus workers. By morning, the Duluth police chief had rounded up roughly 150 Black men working for the circus. Tuscan had been examined by a physician who found no signs of rape or any kind of sexual assault. Or assault. She didn't have any bruises or anything. When Tuscan was unable to identify any of the alleged attackers that the police chief had assembled, he decided on 10 and took them into custody. Word spread, and within hours, a villainous crowd of close to 10,000 or more were on the streets of Duluth, demanding that the young men be released to the mob forming in the street. Furthermore, the city's public safety commissioner forbade the police department from using their firearms to withhold rioters. So the mob, using bricks and battering timber, broke into the precinct. Among the men who were held in the Superior Avenue police headquarters, 3 young men: Elmer Jackson, who was 21, Elias Clayton, and Isaac McGhie, who were just 19, were indiscriminately pulled from their holding cell and drug up the hill, where a young white boy sat atop a lamppost waiting to tie the knot to hang the noose from the lamppost. A photographer snapped a photo of the murderous crowd and the 3 lives it claimed. One man near the middle, particularly beaming with pride and standing almost on top of Elias Clayton, who was cut down and posed in the center, who was cut down and posed on the ground in the center of this photograph for composition purposes. There were car lights that were also wrangled to achieve proper exposure because it was at night. The photograph was later made into a postcard and widely distributed as a souvenir. That Wednesday, the Duluth Herald's headline the next day simply read, "Three Negroes lynched in Duluth." Underneath, there was a photograph of the police station in shambles to show the size and rage of this crowd, the lunacy, of this crowd who broke into the police precinct. Unfortunately, the legacy of public murder, torture, and dehumanization, particularly of Black people, is still a cultural practice that's alive and well in America. And the resistance to oppression is just as important today as it was during Jim Crow era. Throughout our history, even prior to our bondage and persecution, Black people, African people, have had a strong connection with music. Throughout our liberation struggles and movements, music was a tool of resistance, a strategy for survival, and even more so, a way to cultivate and to practice joy. Joining us is our very special guest, T. Michael Rambo, who is a actor extraordinaire, also has been a great teacher and mentor of mine as I was a theater kid, and also an affiliate professor at the University of Minnesota Theater Department. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's quite a pleasure, and thank you, Shireen, for inviting me, and thanks to Walker West for shedding light on such a very important subject, as it certainly dovetails what we'll be marking on the 25th of May here in Minnesota.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you because we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and you actually reminded me that you were in the Last Minstrel Show. Can you talk a little bit about that show and your character and what you think,
Sure.
how it shed new light on this?
It was in 1992 that we did the production, so it's been a little while ago, but I still have some very clear recollection of the story, because the story has been emblazoned in the memory and the psyche of Minnesota. Now that it's come to light, many Minnesotans weren't aware of it. And then the playwright, John Davidson, found it to be a piece of history that needed to be recreated and then reimagined so that we could, as a community, come to a way of understanding and a kind of form of reckoning. So the storyline of Last Minstrel Show sheds light upon the loss of lives, the public lynching of Jackson, Clayton, and McGhie in 1920, actually June 15th was the exact date of the incident. And what happened was these three men, in addition to three other African-American men, were pulled from a circus lineup of over 100 men, and they were pulled out of that lineup because of the false accusation of a white woman who was in her teens, 19 or 18. She and her boyfriend claimed to have walked behind the circus tents only to be accosted and then her raped by this gang, as she called them, of African-American circus workers. The character that I played was a character named Roscoe Leeds, who was not one of the three who was lynched. He was one of the remaining three that was not pulled from the jail on that date. His storyline was one of the three men who remained that was not actually even tried or sentenced. He was released, and there was a lot of guilt and shame around his having been released because, of course, you can only imagine this. It's something that we hear referred to as survivor's guilt. When John Davidson wrote this piece, he gave that character that I portrayed, Roscoe Leeds, a closing song as he left the courtroom that date in June when the hearing took place. The song that I sang was this song called "This Beautiful Color of Mine," which spoke to this character's traumatization, his being traumatized rather by the experience and that guilt that I just mentioned. But the play itself overall took the audience through a journey of minstrel performance and had audience members captivated and kind of um, brought in to this story because it became engaging using music, popular music forms, as well as minstrel music, and then changed the lyrics to reflect the storyline. And so there was something very repulsive about the lyric and about the story, but yet the music left audience members unwittingly applauding for moments that really were horrific and really were tragic and were ones that no person, unless they were seduced by music, would ever possibly um, applaud to. And that just speaks to the power of music, how music can transform a person in a moment and send them to any range of emotions, sometimes without even recognizing they've shifted. So the play that was produced by Penumbra Theater was directed by Lou Bellamy, and Richard Thompson was the actual director. It was produced by Penumbra, and Lou Bellamy was the artistic director at the time. So in a nutshell, it just really gave people a chance to be brought into a space of awareness about the incident that took place.
When you talk about, you mentioned the power of music, um, I'm wondering what came to my mind are, songs of resistance or the songs that have been companions of different movements, um, throughout history, like Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn, talking about, Mississippi as just a hell on earth, for Black people. Change is going to come. Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday, which I don't think a lot of people knew that was actually a protest for, Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Day, to protest that it be recognized as a national holiday. So when you think about music also as resistance, what is your opinion about or thoughts on the necessity of music to heal or cope with trauma, like a publicly witnessed murder?
Yeah, well, I think that there's something to be said about the evolution of music, the African American experience and the African journey to the continent through the slave trade and through those years of slavery that was well over 300 to 400 years in American history. One of the first tools that after everything was taken away from the African, what remained was the body and the voice. The body became rhythmic and punctuated by percussive sounds, whether it be the slapping of the bare foot on hard soil or hard baked earth. That gave birth to tap dancing, whether it was the sounds and the wailing and the songs of spirituals that were the first form of nonviolent resistance that the enslaved African was able to use to garner the understanding and to bring a sense of appreciation and evoke a sense of compassion from the listener. Yes, song and music has been an ongoing tool for opening and closing the wound at the same time, for allowing the listener to give weight to moments that are challenging and difficult and traumatic. But by the same token, it can heal that moment or that wound at the same time in a space that gives the person a chance to shed tears of joy or pain or anger or anguish, but in the same moment finds a chance to well up with joy that is found in a bright, brilliant smile. So to the tapping of one's foot, to the clapping of hands, to the celebration of dance. So music has been an ongoing tool, instrument, and voicing of the African experience into the Americas, and then that African American journey into today. So music is a powerful tool for Black liberation.
Speaking of Black liberation, in terms of those joy moments or moments that can spark joy, as I think about, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Sweet Honey in the Rock had a song that I just thought, oh, this is just such a gorgeous song. Um, I'll be your water, I'll be your land, I'll be your everything, I'll be your friend, I'll be your water when you're thirsty and dry. You
Yeah.
know that song?
Yes, I do, and
Yeah.
it is a beautiful celebration of how music quenches and sustains and brings a sense of cleansing and catharsis. That music is a replenisher of the spirit. It is a way of pouring into someone possibility and promise. It is a open door to possibility again. So music is something that is like water. It's so life sustaining. It's no joke and no coincidence rather that we'd have Wade in the Water or when we think of songs like the one where we say that like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. That the imagery of water and the strength and the power of a tree are things that come from that African appreciation for nature and for what gods have put here before us to give us life and to live in harmony with those elements.
There are kind of a new generation of songs and music being created, particularly in this performance that we're going to see. Sarah M. Greer and Alicia Steele and Jayanthi Rajasa are going to be have put together a performance in which I know Jayanthi in particular has created some music around the Black Lives Matter movement. Do you see a parallel between 1920 and now with movements like Black Lives Matter?
Absolutely. I think it's quite profound and quite disturbing that the public lynching of those three circus workers, those three men, those three African American bodies, murdered June 15th, 1920, that on May 25th, 2020, 100 years later, we are still witnessing public lynchings. We're still, and while the public lynching of George Floyd was not met by 5,000 participants as it was in 1920, without that, with the absence of social media and telephones, even for that matter, really, they were able to amass a crowd of over at least 5,000 people for the lynchings of those three men. And while George Floyd's murder, that public lynching, took place in front of a handful, 10, 12 people in person who were unwittingly and unexpectedly found themselves at a place and time that would mark history for years and perhaps another century to come. What happened is social media made it a public lynching. The social media, the replaying of it, the fact that that videotape, that young 17-year-old woman, young lady, videotaped of the actual 9 minutes and 29 seconds of, I won't even say his name, of that officer's knee on George Floyd's neck. His name is not as important as George Floyd's name. That it was replayed and constantly bombarded us with the public lynching and the absolute impunity, the absolute sheer arrogance, the remarkable sense of empowerment that was on the face of that officer, just was something that is indelibly imprinted in my mind and in the minds of most people who saw that video. And it reinforced the parallel that police officing, police, it it made an indelible mark around the fact that police officers, that public officials are still in places where they are inflicting harm against Black and brown bodies in numbers that far exceed any other members of our community. It parallels the situation because we see that the officers in 1920 they were complicit in that they were not to use any weapons against the mob that pulled them in out of the jail, and that similarly the other officers who stood by Chauvin's side were complicit. They did not do anything to save George Floyd's life or to bring him off of his neck. Those sorts of parallels exist. And the parallel that continues to exist is that to heal ourselves, we are still finding that we have to use mediums that are and have always been part of our healing process. And that is music, spoken word, language, poetry, all forms of artistic expression, because that's the wellspring and the cornerstone of our response to pain and trauma. We speak to it most frequently through song. And with Jayanthi and with the rest of the women who will be performing here later today, Jayanthi has such a powerful spirit. The other two women equally as talented and brilliant with their gifts. We're seeing that people more and more are doing things that let us as community members know what we have to do. And that is speak up, speak out, speak loud about injustice and about these acts that are continuing to happen in our communities.
Absolutely. Well, our time is up. I want to thank you so much for joining us in this very important discussion. And I hope that you all in the listening audience enjoy. And at the same time, that this is very reflective and think about how not to be complicit in racism and white supremacy. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Shireen, for inviting me to be a part of this conversation. And thank you once again to Walker West for creating this platform that allows people who zoom into what's happening here to know that not only are you an anchor in our community, but you are also enlightening us as well.
Thank you. Walker West would like to thank Clayton Jackson McGhie Memorial for inviting us to partner on this project, commemorating the unjust and horrific lynchings of 3 young Black men in Duluth, Minnesota in 1920. Please stay with us for our concert with Sarah M. Greer, streaming from Walker West Music Academy, featuring music, improvisation, and poetry with special appearances by Jayanthi Rajasa, Alicia Steele, and Tish Jones, and spotlighting the artwork of Miko Simmons. The concert will begin shortly at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The concert will begin shortly at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The concert will begin shortly at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
We're going to start by calling the directions east. south, south, south. The place I most often see the sun on the horizon. West, west. North, north, north. Place of molten moving rock below. Above, above, above. Within all of the resources we carry within all of the energy we create from within. Thank you for being here with us for remembrance, reflection, and resilience. And I thought I'd add one more R, bringing a little bit of ritual as we have musical conversation about this event from the 1920s, which is still connected to the events that we're experiencing today. Clayton Jackson Memorial McGhie invited me to create a concert to help them commemorate the centennial of the lynching of Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, and Isaac McGhie in Duluth in 1920. So we are here to spend some time thinking about that and feeling about that. In an effort to include others in the project, because it felt like a lot for me to carry all alone. I have my lovely band from who we'll hear soon, but I also invited some artists who aren't in the space with us tonight to contribute. And the first artist is poet Tish Jones. Tish and I have been getting to know each other in virtual gatherings during the pandemic times, and I reached out to her to ask if she could possibly come and contribute to this project, and she said yes without hesitation and with not a whole lot of notice. So we filmed Tish's poems. We filmed Tish's poems at a separate location Modus Locus Gallery in South Minneapolis amidst the amazing artwork of Miko Simmons. So we'll show you that video now.
The experiment is over now that they're tearing down projects. A haiku on gentrification, redlining, state-sanctioned violence against where we live. Tears collapse on top of your skin like heavy rain. There is wailing all around you when you are born. It is a good thing. We celebrate the hurried and uncertain attempts to breathe. We cradle and caress your brown skin. Momentarily, we forget about the trauma inherent in your blood. When you are born, it is a good thing. We celebrate. The ancestors' prayer manifests in the flesh. Momentarily, we forget about the trauma inherent in your blood, our blood. We imagine you living past 23. The ancestors' prayer manifests in the flesh. A future where someone with skin like yours, like soot, like soil, never meets the barrel of a white man's gun. Our blood. We imagine you living past 23. Anomaly. A future where someone with skin like yours, like soot, like soil, never meets the barrel of a white man's gun. Our dreams constantly clipped at the wings. We black. No. Anomaly. We lucky to be alive. We live as who it could have been. Our dreams constantly clipped at the wings. We black. No, any moment is one in which a white man might want to claim scared and shoot. We lucky to be alive. We live as who it could have been, stomaching survivor's guilt like a bad secret, only we know any moment is one in which a white man might want to claim scared and shoot. We lucky to be alive. We live as who it could have been, stomaching survivor's guilt like a bad secret, only we know. So much of us dies with each of you. And you did not deserve this. The hurried and uncertain attempts to breathe. So we cradle you and caress your brown skin. Much of us dies with each of you. Tears collapse on top of your skin like heavy rain. And there's wailing all around you.
say the names, to say their names, to remember their names. I had this idea that I would run a list of their names through this piece, but that doesn't acknowledge the trauma, the harm in having to recollect So many names. So many names. Too many names. So instead, we lean on the music. We always lean on the music. The music moves us and holds us and carries us. Lets us channel the grief and sadness. Lets us wake up and start again. I spoke your names into the ground so they would know we've come home. I spoke your names into the ground. They know you were safely home. I took your names. I held them lightly. Spoke your names so very gently. Felt your names on the breeze around me. I spoke your names into the ground. Pushed them, planted them down into the dark unknowing universal growing. So many names, too many names to carry. So I chose to bury your names. I put them in the earth for what it's worth. You were all there. You were all there. You were Let me tell you about these beautiful humans that I am in the same space with this evening. Next to me is Levi Schwartzberg on the vibraphone, Anthony Cox on the bass, Davu Saru on the drums. My name is Sarah Greer, but I suspect if you're here, you maybe knew that already. This next song is a song of mine, and it feels connected to our topic of the evening because I wrote it. It's called Two Dimensional, and I wrote it about the invisibility of Black people and Black people's lives, about the number of spaces that, at least personally, I've entered and haven't seen people who look like me in the space, or if I do see Black and brown people in the space, the place that they reside is in the pictures on the walls. So that became sort of the chorus of this song. Again, it's called Two Dimensional. You see our faces. You think we're two-dimensional, like those pictures on the wall. How we ever gonna be free or take up more spaces if we're only two-dimensional or not pictured at all? So many things we are, you devalue. So many truths we hold, you disbelieve. You can't imagine how we're made to suffer or grasp how deeply we grieve. All right. Thank you, band. I feel like I'm dusting off some cobwebs, and hope you're having a good time. This is another tune of mine called Maybe. And I put it in here because I think it encapsulates at least a lot of what I'm feeling right now, which is maybe things are going to be okay. That is sort of the subtext of it, this idea that if we hang on and work together, that maybe things will turn around. Maybe things will be good, even when it seems like things are not very good in the moment. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's time to give in. Maybe the shiniest silver lining is only found within the darkest clouds. See, it could be the tables are turning. Maybe you're gonna win. Your ship's on its way. Maybe the sun's about to shine. Could be the clouds are clear and fast. I'm hoping for you that all your dreams come true. Maybe it's over at last. Maybe the dark days have passed. Maybe it's over at last. Maybe. If we allow. Nicely said. I have a beverage somewhere, maybe. Oh, I think my beverage is no longer on the stage. That's all right. This will just be in the world of B minor, my friends. So when I was working on the album that this song ended up on, I was feeling some conflict as a black woman about writing a blues. Not because I don't understand the blues, but I was wrestling a little bit with this expectation that I would sing a blues or that I would be a blues singer. And then things happened, things keep happening that this song developed from, and I just keep adding lyrics because, unfortunately, the brown girl blues don't seem to be ending anytime soon. This is the brown girl blues. I got the blues. Nothing to do with whether the sky is gray. Got the blues. Nothing to do with how the weather is today. Kind of blues make you wail and shout, 'cause you cannot work them out. The brown girl blues. I got the blues. The kind that make you feel down. Got the blues. The kind you get from just hanging around. When you don't fit in, 'cause your skin's viewed as a weapon. The brown girl blues. When you ain't given space, based on something as arbitrary as race, and you find you can't fit in because of the color of your skin. Sometimes you get the blues. happening to you. You can't conceive it, but it's nothing that you've been through. The fear we face and often feel, the wounds that never, ever, ever, ever get to heal. when they act like it's a mystery, but go on repeating history. It's the brown girl blues. When they won't let you object, that those who serve and protect don't protect you. The brown girl blues. Now I got the blues, the kind you can't ignore. Got the blues. It's 2021, not 1964. How much more? How many more? How many more will be gone like before? The brown Nice. I think I want to tell you again that that's Davu Saru on the drums, Anthony Cox on the bass, Levi Schwartzberg on the vibes, and I'm Sarah Greer. You may have noticed that I was experimenting with my technology. We're going to experiment some more. And it's a good thing I'm an improviser, because I had a little hiccup in that I didn't bring the headphones that I wanted to bring with me, but fortunately I had a backup pair. So this arrangement is going to combine a number of song ideas. And the first one I learned from a world vocal class that I took, and it is from the language is indigenous to a small, they're small now. I don't know that they used to be small, group of, called the Jerobi, or Hirobi, and their language is disappearing, as are they. And I learned this song in, I assume, the native language. I don't know what the text means, but I feel like as long as there are people who are speaking the language, then the people to whom that language belongs will hopefully be remembered and endure. So that part of the piece is called Chinane, and the rest I think you'll recognize as I get going here. So I'm going to start with my machine, and then, if all goes according to plan, the band will join. Chena, chenale, yanana wika che, chena, chenane, 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 Yanana we could Jena, Jenane, 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 Yanana we could 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 Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. I'm alone, away from home. Sometimes I feel like a motherless girl. Sometimes I feel all alone in the world. So one of the challenges for me over the last year was not singing with other people, except myself, through the wonders of technology. I sing with an a cappella ensemble called the Give Get Sestet. Hello! And I have really missed gathering and lifting voice with the other members of that ensemble. And when I was thinking about content for this concert, one of the members of the Sestet, Jayanthi Rajasa, has a beautiful piece that she composed. Well, I think is still composing, or perhaps is still channeling, might be the way that she talked about it. But I approached her about recording it for this concert, and she graciously said yes. And then because of logistics and because of COVID, and because we had the opportunity again to be in the Modus Locus space amidst Miko Simmons' stunning artwork, we decided to film that song cycle in that location. So next you're going to see the video of that performance. And Black and Brown people, it is a heavy piece. It has all of the feelings, or at least I think we felt all the feelings while we were recording it. It also has some derogatory language in it. One of the pieces is from the perspective of George Zimmerman, who is the person who chased down and killed Trayvon Martin. So that language is in there from that context and for that reason, and because even if we're striving not to use that word in polite company, there are still people using that word and still people thinking that word and acting out of the place that word comes from. So I believe we talked about this being the song that cannot be named, composed by Jayanthi Rajasa and performed by Jayanthi, Alicia, Steele, and me. I hope you enjoy.
Got a fever. You got a fever. You got a fever for the meters, nigga, I know what you like, oh boy, you make me shiver, do you wanna fight? Nigga, run, run, nigga, run, 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 nigga, run, 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 gonna make those lungs, make that heart thump thump, gonna make those legs run, 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 make that pavement bump. You got Skittles, you got a tea, nigga, please, I got a gun and I got a fever for the fire, gonna watch you run, nigga, run, 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 nigga, run, 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 Do you know what I saw Do you know how that made me feel? You know what you heard, but I only know what was real. I am the dead young boy. I am the dead young black child. I am the dead young boy. I am the dead young black child. You say you know my name. You say you know my town. You say you heard or read, but I know what really went down. I am the dead young girl. I am the dead young black child. I am the dead young girl. I am the dead young black child. Try to complicate it. Try to give it your opinion. Try to give it your own spin. You had that long before they pulled the trigger. I am the dead young fan. I am the dead young black child. I am the dead young fan. I am the dead young black child. Respect the dead. Respect the dead, and they might talk to you. Respect the dead. Respect the dead, and they might tell you something. Like, do you know what I saw? Do you know how that made me feel? Do you know what I saw? Do you know how that made me feel? Do you know what I saw? Do you know how it made me feel? Do you know what I saw? Do you know what I saw? How it made me feel? Do you know what I saw? Do you know how that made me feel? We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were with God. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were with God. We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were with God. We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were naked in the garden, so they told us. We were happy, we were free, we were with God. We were with God. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Trayvon, Trayvon. Michael Brown, Lakia Ford, Jamar Clark, Elijah McClain, Tony McDade, Breonna Taylor, on and on and on and on. Dante Wright,
Neighbor Dante Wright, neighbor Dante
too many names, so many names,
Too many names.
so many names,
Too many names.
too many names,
Too many names.
Say the names,
Ancestors now.
ancestors now,
Ancestors now. Ancestors now. Ancestors now.
Many thanks to Alicia and Jayanthi and Ephraim and Miko and Modus Locus for letting us film that important piece at that location in that context. We are hurting, we are healing, the wound's edges ragged and thin, barely touching, still needing cover for going about the day, and frequent pauses to air out, clean, and redress. We look for redress. The impact marks are only just beginning to fade. The wound's edges are ragged and thin. We are hurting, and we are healing. We are hurting, but we are healing. If only you knew what's inside of you. If only it all worked the way we wanted to. The way we wanted to. If only you knew. If only you knew. If you could just see who you're gonna be after all the stops and starts, the hurts and broken hearts. If you could just see who you're gonna be, see how beautiful you are to me, how bright you make my days, how wonderful my lives become in so many ways. I always knew that inside of you is all you'll ever need. If only you knew. fly. If you could just see how the world's gonna be. May the deepest longing that you hold in the quiet of your heart, may the life you live and the life you dream not be far apart. If wishes came true right out of the blue, I would give all mine to you. If only you knew the dreams I dream for you. If only you Lovely. So that tune, If Only You Knew, I wrote for my nieces. And this next tune started out as a song that I wrote for my sister, an apology song. And then as I was kind of working on it, I started thinking about apologizing in general, about making repair or reparations, or how do we move forward from a place when we've injured someone, and that there is sometimes a tendency to want to do that on our timetable rather than on the timetable of the injured person, and so I thought about adding this song, which is very new, to this evening, because I think this idea of figuring out how we apologize and how we repair relationship is a really important thing as we look at 100 years of Black people being killed by law enforcement or failing to be protected by law enforcement, and how we're going to repair our relationships and move forward from there. So at the moment, this song is called Sorry, and maybe that'll change and maybe it won't. I'm sorry for causing you pain. If you want my reasons, I'll try to explain. But the words I would say might only get in the way of the feeling that's here in my heart. I'm sorry for letting you down. I'll do the work to turn things around. Yeah, the hurt that I caused, the trust that's been lost are here. I can't wish them away. I could say I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. You received my actions, not my intent. And the pain that I caused won't cease or be paused until I take steps towards a out of malice, inattention, or fear. You're not ready to talk. Maybe we'll go for a walk, and we can say nothing at all. But you would know I'm sorry for letting you down. I'll do the work to change things around. Yeah, the changes to come are my work to be done. I'm here when you're ready to start from the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry for causing you pain. If you want my reasons, then I'll try to explain. But the words I would say might only get in the way of the feeling that's here in my heart. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I like that. Thank you, band. I suspect that we would stay here and play all night. I very much enjoying making music with these fine people, but I think our time is running short. And so I'm gonna work with a piece that I developed as a part of a project called Air Prayers, with the idea that we can sing as a spiritual practice, not necessarily a religious practice, but that we can impact the world. And for me, the idea of impacting the world through singing is right where I live. So that idea kind of spawned this reflection. And my friend Suzette helped provide some of the sounds that you'll hear, and my lovely band will supply the other sounds that you're going to hear. This is called Let Our Prayers. And I also want to say that my friend Michelle has said to me once that prayers are out of time, and that she frequently prays for victims of the Holocaust and people in the past. And I think it's a beautiful idea, and that we can pray now for Elias Clayton, Elmer Jackson, Isaac McGhie, and all of the many, many other people who have had trauma and died in terrible ways. So let our prayers. Let our prayers fall like water. Let our prayers fall like tears. Fall from our lips to settle like leaves. Let our prayers find the way into the closed heart, wounded, scarred, in need of tending and care. Let our prayers move the muscles in our bodies to shift the obstacles in our paths. loud like the blood in a beating heart. Insistent, insistent, insistent and life-giving. Let our prayers do the work. We are not yet willing, not yet able, not yet sure how to do. Not yet willing, not yet able, not yet sure how to do. Let our prayers move within and without churches, temples, synagogues, mosques, places of worship. Move in the trees and the breeze, in babbling brook and bird song, in the oceans and the glaciers, the waves and the wilds. Let our prayers move like water, like breath, like fire, like water, like breath, like fire. Crack open seeds we need to grow and change. Let our prayers move like a reckoning, an awakening, a revelation, an elevation, an evolution, a revolution. Move through space and time. Let our prayers, let our prayers, let our prayers do the work. We're unable, unwilling, unsure how to do. Unable, unwilling, unsure how to do. Let our prayers move on the breeze, in the trees, in the oceans, in the wilds, in the waves, in the wilds. Let our prayers, let our prayers, let our prayers fall like water. Let our prayers fall like dews. Let our prayers move like fire, like breath, like fire, like breath, like breath, like breath. Let our prayers, 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 prayers. Let our prayers fall like water. Let our prayers fall like tears. Fall from our lips and settle like leaves. settle like leaves, settle like leaves. Enormous gratitude to this ensemble. Davu Saru, Anthony Cox, Levi Schwartzberg. Continued gratitude to Tish Jones, Jayanthi, Rajasa, Alicia Steele, Miko Simmons, Modus Locust Gallery, all of the folks here at Walker West who are letting us come into your living rooms, Jim and Rick and Elaine helping you see and hear us, the board of Clayton, Jackson, McGhie Memorial, Inc. in Duluth for inviting me to create this event, Treasure Jenkins for your conversations and support, Heather Yun for assisting with spreading the word, and I think that's and for the folks who donated in advance of the event to support the emotional and racial labor of this project. It is deeply appreciated. I believe there is a donate option. If you're watching the Crowdcast platform, those donations will also help support the project and the artists. So thank you very, very much for spending this time with us, and may you be well and go with music. I feel like we should make a little music. Let's just improvise something, band, and then you can fade us out, technology world. That's how it would be if you were all here in the room with us. Restore the dead. Nothing. Naming is an act of empathy. It's an act of attention and care. It's also an act of survival. Es un ponte si a la